Samuel had been living in that house for over 10 years. A modest but warm home, filled with memories and children's laughter. 3 kids, 3 little sons he loved more than anything. He wasn't rich, but he worked hard. A self-employed electrician, he took on every job he could, even late-night calls. But lately, reality had caught up with him. Bills were piling up, clients were late to pay, and now, the landlord was announcing a rent increase. "This isn't the right time," he murmured to his wife, Linda, rubbing his tired forehead. She looked at him, said nothing. She just shrugged and kept preparing dinner as if nothing had happened. That bothered him for a moment, but he didn't dwell on it. The next day, he decided to act. Take charge. Speak to the landlord directly. Explain his situation. Beg, if needed. So he went to the real estate office, hoping to plead his case. He expected a cold, distant agent. But what he was about to discover would shatter something inside him. Because the landlord he imagined as a stranger was much closer, much more personal. Too personal. "Hello, I'm the tenant at 12 Lilac Street." Samuel spoke with a calm but tense voice. The receptionist nodded without looking up. "Your name, please?" "Samuel Diabate. I've lived there for 11 years. "Very well." She typed something, then froze. "One moment, I'll get the file." She returned with a gray folder, opened it, and frowned. "You're requesting to meet the landlord?" "Yes. It's about the rent increase. I'm struggling financially and need to discuss it." "I understand, but the landlord doesn't do direct meetings through us." Samuel sighed. "Then at least, give me the landlord's name. I'll try to reach out myself." She hesitated, then slid a document toward him. Samuel looked down, and his heart skipped a beat. Landlord's name, Linda Kofi Diabate. Address, same as the rented property. He stood there, frozen. His own wife. His partner of 14 years. Mother of his children. She was the owner of the house he'd been paying rent for every month. And she had never told him. He slowly stood up, throat tight, and left, without a word. Samuel returned home in silence. The walk felt longer than usual. Heavier. He opened the door. The kids were running around the living room. Linda sat on the couch, phone in hand. "Everything okay? You're home early." He stared at her without answering. She looked up, met his eyes. And in that instant, he understood. She knew he knew. She slowly set her phone down. "You went to the agency." He nodded. "How long?" "Since the beginning. I've owned the house for 12 years." 12? So, a year before we moved in? She nodded again. "You had the lease signed in your name?" "Not exactly. The lease was through a company I created. You never asked questions." He couldn't believe it. All these years, he'd broken his back to pay that rent. Made sacrifices. Postponed his own dreams. To pay rent. To his own wife. He sat down, breath short. "You knew I was drowning, struggling." "I know. And you did nothing." Samuel spent the night on the couch. Not a word, not a glance. Linda had locked herself in the bedroom with the kids. As if he were the one who betrayed her. But in his mind, everything was spinning. Anger. Betrayal. Shame. How had he not seen it? How could she let him break down, beg, sell his tools, while she collected rent from him, like a stranger? He remembered all the times he said, "I'm going to speak with the landlord," and her little smirk, her silences. He thought he shared his life with a loyal woman. Now he found out she was also his landlord. And the worst part? She never used that money to help them. Not for him. Not for their debts. No, she handled that money alone. Discreetly. The next morning, he didn't say a word. No good morning. No coffee. Just a vacant stare. Linda tried to approach him. "Samuel." He stepped back slightly. "I'll sleep in the guest room." "How long are you going to sulk?" He turned and answered coldly. "Until you treat me like your husband, not your tenant." In the following days, the silence grew heavier. But Samuel couldn't stop thinking, doubting, analyzing. Why? Why did she do it? What was the point of hiding the truth? He searched through their papers and found the company's documents in Linda's name, created a year before they moved in. All of it was legal, neatly arranged. She had planned everything. He recalled a conversation from 10 years ago when he suggested they buy a house. She had said, "Not now. Too soon. Let's focus on the kids." He believed her. He trusted her. But she had already bought. She had even rented it out. To him, he started doubting everything. Every decision. Every gesture. What if she never really loved him? What if she was using him? What if, to her, he was just a steady income? These thoughts consumed him. He needed answers. Real ones. Not half-truths. He decided to confront her. But this time, it wouldn't be a gentle conversation. It would be a reckoning. Samuel walked into the kitchen where Linda was preparing snacks for the kids. His hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were dry. Hard. We need to talk. Now. She turned around, looked at him quietly. I'm listening. He didn't shout. He didn't lose his temper. He spoke slowly, with icy calm. You lied to me. You watched me beg, struggle, sell my tools, while you collected rent from me every month. It's not that simple. Oh, it's very simple, Linda. You watched me fall apart and said nothing. I wanted us to have independence. I didn't want you to rely on me. He let out a bitter laugh. You mean, like a tenant relies on their landlord? She looked away. I did it to protect myself, just in case. In case of what? That I'd leave? That I'd stop earning? She remained silent. And that silence said everything. You married me, had 3 kids with me, but you never trusted me. Linda tried to push back. And you? Have you told me everything about your debts? He narrowed his eyes. That's not the same. I never rented you my loyalty. And he walked away. In the days that followed, Samuel changed. He became a shadow of himself. Spoke less. Smiled never. Even the kids could feel it. They often asked, Is Daddy mad? No, sweetie. He's just tired. But he wasn't tired. He was shattered. Because this betrayal wasn't just financial. It was intimate humiliation. It questioned everything he believed he was. He wasn't a husband. He wasn't head of the family. He was a tenant. One morning, he looked around the house. Every drill hole, every coat of paint, every repair. He had done it all. And now, just looking at the walls made him sick. He decided he needed space. He packed a bag. Linda found him at the door. Where are you going? To my brother's. I need to breathe. She tried to stop him. You're abandoning your kids? He stared back, cold. No, I'm walking away from my landlord. Not my children. And he slammed the door. At his brother's, he found some peace. No tension, no pretending. Just a couch, background TV, and a sibling who got it. Want my opinion? No. Too bad. What she did was foul. Samuel nodded, eyes lost. You know what I feel? Tell me. Like I lived in a set, not a real life. Everything was fake, even the roof. His brother poured a drink and let him speak. He recalled their wedding, their first night in the house. He still remembered her words. We're finally home. Home. A lie. He stayed for 10 days. No message from Linda, just a drawing from his daughter, with Daddy, come back written on it. It broke him, but he wasn't ready yet. He had to rebuild himself, be a man again, not a tenant, a father, a husband, or maybe something else. Later, on the 11th day, a letter arrived. Official, from a law firm. Subject, notice of non-payment, current rent due. He froze. The letter was signed. Linda Kofi Diabate, his wife, his landlord. He didn't understand. Was she starting proceedings? He called immediately. She answered, breathless. Samuel, I can explain. You sent me a demand letter? Seriously? It's the firm. Automatic. I didn't approve it. Your name's on it. You left me as a wife, and now you want to evict me as a tenant? She began crying. I just wanted to protect what's mine. I grew up watching my mom lose everything. She had nothing in her name. So you crush me instead? I love you, Samuel, but I've always needed a backup plan. He crumbled. I was your backup plan, Linda, not your love. And he hung up. Samuel slowly got back on his feet. He returned to work, fought to stay afloat. He decided he wouldn't pay another cent until things were clarified. His lawyer confirmed he had rights. This was his family residence. She couldn't evict him like just any tenant. One morning, Linda found him outside the school. She looked tired, her eyes sunken. Can we talk, please? He followed her to her car. She spoke softly, for once without defenses. I was wrong, Samuel. I acted out of fear, out of instinct. But I realized too late that I hurt the one person who mattered most. He stared at her, silent. I want to put everything in your name. The house, the company, all of it. And why should I believe you now? She opened a folder. Donation papers. Already prepared. Because I don't want you to leave. Not ever again. He froze. It'll take time, Linda. A lot of time. She nodded. Then I'll wait for you. They reconnected, slowly. No pressure. No promises. Samuel moved back into the house. Not like before. He still slept in the guest room. But the kids were happy. And Linda was patient. She officially transferred half the ownership, wrote off all unpaid rent, and listed the house under both their names. Are you trying to buy back my trust? No, I want to earn it. Gradually, he started talking to her again, listening, smiling, but love, that he wasn't sure about yet. Do you think we'll make it? She asked one night. I think we have a better chance now, because everything is finally on the table. They ate dinner in silence, but a softer silence. The kids laughed in the next room, and for the first time in months, Samuel felt a fragile peace return. Just a beginning, but a real one. A year later, Samuel sat down with his sons. You must always tell the truth to the people you love, even when it's scary, even when it hurts. They listened, wide-eyed. Your mother and I went through a storm, not because of money, but because of silence. Linda walked in. She smiled, a bit shy, and we learned that a couple isn't two people who just live together. It's two souls who hide nothing from each other, Samuel finished. They had learned. They had suffered, but they had risen again. And now, the house was no longer a contract. It was a home rebuilt, on the ruins of a big lie, but with the sincere will to never cheat again. Never again.